Natural Causes by our boy Richard Landis. This is his 4th studio album released on the label Dunhill back in 1972. This here is a gem. I've never heard of this guy before, but he certainly managed to rub my heart in a couple of spaces with a couple of these songs. You know, when you go out buying records, have yourself a good old active listening session. Respect the musicianship, soak it in, have yourself a good old time. Think to yourself, do I want some archaeologists to pick up my album 50 years later and then sit down and thoroughly listen to what I have to say and enjoy it? The answer is yes. My favorite on this joint is the title track, Natural Causes. For one, it gave me a little bit of a morbid vibe, you know, the anxious side of me. First thought of my anxious side told to me, natural causes. Anybody can die from natural causes. A heart attack is a natural cause. What if I have a heart attack right now? And that was very intriguing. But then as I listened to the track, it was very beautifully metaphored. He goes through the life of a flower, first of all, and describes it very much as if it was a human life. And you gain this appreciation for nature and life around you, apart from these human lives as we're used to perceiving them. And then he goes on to transform this metaphor into a dying love of his. Very beautiful joint, 5 out of 5 amazing. We also have a laugh or two on it, something that is definitely politically correct, questionable today, songs like Living Like a Gypsy, where the lyrics are rather stereotypical and somewhat questionable. Have a listen for yourself.
Living like a gypsy, I'm eating from a tin. Can't stay here too long cause I'm a gypsy man.
You can't say that. Let's make some motherfucking beats. Let's check out the harvest here. This one right here is a banger. I just don't know. I don't even want to chop it up. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's good how it is. It's almost like a loop, and sometimes it must remain that way. We'll see. Maybe we'll make a banger out of that one. We can use that to stab somebody up somewhere. I like the left side of the speaker there with a harp. The right side of the speaker with a flute, it gives it a little bit too much of a medieval vibe for my personal flavor. I don't know. We'll see what we can do with that. Could do something with the perks there. Same thing there. I don't know how creative I can get with that. The loop is just too dope already. You could loop that shit and rap over it. Family Picnic in the 70s. Lots of solid loops on this one. I know some of you out there are going to be thinking like, why the fuck didn't you take that sample and flip it? That one was so dope. I would have done something so much doper with that. Yes, that is true. That is the case. I'm going to have to kill some darlings here because we're going to end up with one beat today. I'll probably make 4 beats out of these. Might share them on the Patreon if you're interested though. Let's do something about this stereo situation. And add the channel converter. Beautiful reactor plugin. I'll put the link in the description if you missed the video on how to do that. But this is a great addition that should be in a modern sampler, you know what I'm saying? We can pick our source if we want the sound only from the left or the right. So we can isolate certain things, especially when you're sampling records. Yeah, the right channel is definitely more medieval, and I want the minimum medieval factor possible in my beats. Still a little bit medieval, but we can live with it. I put this one over here. See, this is how I always move. There's no way to move samples on the machine, you know what I'm saying? But it's very easy. You just duplicate it there and remove it from the old place. Now I've cleared up this space here.
whiskey, daddy, eat whiskey.
Right now, these things deserve their own groups right now, so I'm just going to duplicate the whole group. And in the new one, I'll remove all of the samples that we just chopped up so we can have more space. And free this up from here. You see here, when you do this, when you split these up like this, a cheap trick for making different sections of a beat, you could take one part that you're using for the verse and one that you're using for the hook, for example. So we might have this harpy sound on the chorus, and this more laid back guitar plucking stuff for the verses. We're not going to do that now, but just a mini tip. Yeah, we must save it. Might be for some sprinkles later on. I think the core element is going to be this woman's choir. Let's give it its own sandbox and put a new group where we can experiment with that. See this? We don't like this. You know this if you've done the Machine Noobs Mastery School. When we chop a sample up like this, we like to set this polyphony to 1. So they cut each other off. Boom. Uh-oh, I think it might be time for the return of the Dangerous Sound Kid right about around now, you know what I'm saying? 86.85. Great tempo. Put some tape saturation on the drum group here, almost on the verge of distorting. Matter of fact, maybe a little bit distorting, but not clipping. We like it. I need this chop to kind of keep up with the tempo here a little bit, so I'm just going to take time stretch this one in particular. We can truncate it because we have plenty of copies there. Let's go to this is the way that I like to time stretch when I'm chopping up samples. I just know I need it to be a little bit faster. Okay, how much? A little bit faster? Probably around 120%. I'll try it out. Almost there. See, I had a good hunch, but let's take it to 117 because it was a little bit too... This is very cool, but it's very intense. But keeping this up as a loop all the way throughout in a beat, that would be too much intense for the ears, you know what I'm saying? Even though it's some sort of a climax, let's try to do something, apply something to the entire group to make it more subtle and experiment with it. Maybe put something else. I don't know. I like this, but you know, as a stepping stone, what we're going to do is we're going to copy this with all the events and the content to another group. Mute the old one for now. And see what we can do with some filter magic. Then we're going to take that filtered sample, build on top of it, and then I will experiment a little bit back and forth with which sounds are going to be playing at what time. If you're fucking around with this here LFO sync, it's a very nice thing to know if you're unaware of this, that the LFO shape 100% means it's a square wave. So you're going to be cutting the sample in and out, sort of like a crossfader. While the more you bring it to 0, it's more of a sine wave. So here's the difference. it's yeah, so I put a low pass filter on it and compressor and saturator. I don't even know if we're going to use this later, but we can play something else on top of that and generate another idea. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit like puzzle pieces here. This one is from another song, and it doesn't sound like they would line up that nice, but put a high pass filter on it to cut out the lowest of the lows to make sure few less frequencies crash in there, you know what I'm saying? We can put it I'll probably chop it up in this case. I won't time stretch it, but I'll chop it up. Oh, and I noticed in this case I'm not picking the straight fourths like this. I'm picking the doo-doo, doo-doo, because those are the pieces that make it more synchronized. Those are the timing is more important on that. So I can force it to appear a little bit earlier. I know already we have this low pass filter boom bap style bass, but I want to have a synthesizer bass on here to liven it up a little bit. I'm going to take the Miniskool in here. You can get it from the website, by the way, for free. And maybe we'll have it only on the hook, maybe do something else with this low pass thing. We'll see. Yeah, but I think I have enough with that beat. We have a few different sections now, 4 different scenes.